time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Oh, indeed it is, and great to have you with us on this Thursday edition of the show. A lot to do over the next 60 minutes. It's a Thursday on Sports Wrap, which can only mean one thing. David Aardsma will be here, ladies and gentlemen. Former big league reliever and closer. Get his thoughts on... I got to ask him about how we introduce him. Reliever, closer, I don't know. David Aardsma will join us, though. Get some thoughts with him around baseball. He joined us Tuesday. He gave us a bonus on Tuesday with Sam being out on Monday and Tuesday this week. So we'll get into some baseball with him. A whole bunch to get to from the National Football League. An interesting matchup between the 49ers and Cardinals and some storylines emerging from that matchup that we'll talk about as well. We start things out in the NFL. Sam Yarnell is here. Thursday Night Football. We know he'll be plugged in for this one. Bills and the Dolphins. Dolphins, last time I checked, 11.5-point dogs on the road in Buffalo, and 11.5 might be generous. I mean, if there's a game, look, if your season is basically on the line in week 3 if you're Miami. I mean, think about that for a second, Sam. Their season is essentially at stake with this game tonight in Buffalo, and there's a damn good chance that Mike McDaniel's job... I keep saying McDaniels. It's so easy to add an S. It just feels like a verbal typo to say McDaniel. Mike McDaniel.
Wait, but you said it right there because it's Mike McDaniel's job. You said it right.
Okay, fine. Mike McDaniel's job is at risk. And we had Chris Perkins on the show yesterday. I was going to play it and then I forgot. But Chris Perkins was on the show on Tuesday. It's all right. Nobody cares. Chris Perkins of the Sun Sentinel, their fantastic Dolphins columnist, was on the show. If you want to see what he said, go to the YouTube channel, Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. We have a Sports Wrap short there where you can see where he basically said this all sets up for Mike McDaniel being fired if they get blitzed tonight. If they lose, 31-14, which is extremely possible, even 31-17. You get a garbage touchdown late from Miami to make it 31-17. He could see with the 11-day break in between this game and the next, that Mike McDaniel is out of a job. Will this be the last time we see Mike McDaniel on a sideline for the Dolphins, Sam Yarnell?
I think that obviously, the Sun Sentinel for years has done great coverage of the Miami Dolphins, and I think that they are, one of the premier outlets down there, and it's a great take. It is. Mike, think about how everything has gone wrong in the last 10 months for this football team. And I know, there's a Tua injury sprinkled in there and a revamping of the offense mixed in as well. And then you add a touch of Jonnu Smith being the number one option in an offense that had Tyreek Hill for like 6 weeks of a season. And you get this freshly, and then you add Tyreek Hill saying all the crap he did about the entire organization, and then you add Tua talking to the media before this season about how his relationship with the team's best offensive weapon is completely severed. You end up with this giant baked cake of just horrible toxicity and one of the worst environments seemingly in the NFL. So, I was actually doing a guest hit on a podcast before the season started, and they asked me, they said, Sam, who is your one person to watch in the NFL this year? And I originally had a coach who I thought might end up in the next hiring cycle, and then I changed it to Chris Greer. And the reason was exactly because of where we are right now. It's because every bell and whistle was going off before the season even started about the kind of culture that was brewing down in Miami. 2 weeks into the season, almost 3 games, we've seen that the product on field pretty much matches what we thought of that locker room. And that just spells getting a coach fired.
McDaniel, I think if they get blown out tonight, I could see McDaniel getting fired. I don't think they would touch Greer until the end of the year.
No.
I don't think they would touch him until the end of the season. But
they need someone to trade Tyreek Hill.
That is true. Although we asked Chris Perkins about that as well. So shift this away from the Dolphins, who are almost sure to lose tonight. I know Bills fans are sitting there going right now, no, don't say that, Jason Page. And the reason I bring this up is, Sam, I was talking about this with you off air before we got on the air today, and I said, I know it's crazy. They're only 2-0. This team could go undefeated. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's perils in the schedule at Pittsburgh. You know, I think at Pittsburgh might be the biggest danger to this team right now if you're talking about where they could potentially get tripped up. But outside of that, I mean, and people are going to say, well, they play Kansas City. Yes, they play Kansas City in Buffalo, and Kansas City right now has proven to be a shell of themselves. The expectations have to be high right now for the Bills Mafia.
So you said this, and me being the, somewhat biased football fan that any person watching this program is, right? Thought to myself, no, I've watched so many Bills seasons, right? I sat through the Ryan Fitzpatrick, J.P. Lossman, Trent Edwards years. I know there's no chance in heck that the Buffalo Bills are ever going to go 17-0, 16-0, whatever, have an undefeated regular season. It's never going to happen. It's not possible. They'll lose one of these weird games to the Buccaneers or in Atlanta or one of these weird games that they have to play. So when I have these thoughts, my general tendency as the betting man that I am is to defer to the sports books because they generally are unbiased completely and no more than most people. So I went to the win totals because those are still being offered by our friends at FanDuel. First of all, the Bills win total closed for the season at 12.5. It's already up to 13.5 with Jews trending towards the over. They think they're going to win a lot of games. But FanDuel's open to market to go 17-0 in the regular season in 2025-2026. There are 4 teams listed of the 10 teams that are 2-0. The San Francisco 49ers are 130-1 to do so. The Philadelphia Eagles are 75-1 to do so. The Green Bay Packers are 50-1 plus 5,000 to do so. The Buffalo Bills are 15-1 plus 1,500. Jason, I don't want to believe it as a Bills fan, but the book is telling you right now, if there's ever a team that's going to go 17-0, it might just be the Buffalo Bills this year, the way everything shook out.
Wow. Packers at 50 is surprisingly high. Considering how dominant they've looked the first 2 games, that number seems off. It's because of that division. It's because of that division. That division includes the Bears. I mean, my God. And we saw what they did to the Lions in week 1. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of... I'm surprised the number... I'm not saying it should be as low as the Bills, but I'm surprised it's not lower. Something to ponder. David Aardsma talks baseball next. Welcome back to this Thursday edition of SportsWrap. There's more football to come later in the show, don't worry. But it's Thursday. You know what Thursday means on this show. If you've been watching long enough by now, you know what Thursday means on this show. It means this guy. The DA53. That doesn't stand for District Attorney. That is David Aardsma, former big league reliever and closer, hangs out with us on the show. Does it make sense for me to say big league reliever and closer? Should I just say former big league reliever? Can we suss this out? Can we just sort of filter this out right now here on the air?
It's always weird when they're former. It's like, well, yeah, look at me. It's a gray. Of course it's former.
Well, former, gray doesn't mean former. Some people gray prematurely.
Brother, former isn't the part he was asking about either. That was not the part that was up for debate.
Fair enough. All right. We're just going to say former reliever from now on. Because I don't know why it's almost redundant to say former reliever. 6 of one, half a dozen
of the other, but I like it for conciseness.
Yeah, let people know, like, that's all it was. It was a failed starter.
See, that's what we should do. Failed starter, David Aardsma, because long before I met you, I have always said, what are relievers? They're failed starters.
Absolutely.
I mean, one of the greatest pitchers of all time was a failed starter in Mariano Rivera, but still, failed starters nonetheless. Speaking of failed starters, see, where do I go from there? Give me one. quick, Yarnell. Give me a failed starter that we need to talk about. Is there somebody?
Oof.
No?
Failed starter. Kumar Rocker's the more recent one, who I think is going to end up a reliever, but that may be a little too spicy of a take for right now.
That's a little early take. That's a little bit of an early take. I don't mind it though.
Okay, fair enough. So we've got all these, pennant races and wild card chases going on. I didn't have anything in particular that I was like dying to ask you today, believe it or not. I'm just sitting here talking about baseball. By the way, Trent Grisham's going to get paid a hefty sum of money in this offseason, David Aardsma. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that has completely transformed everything we thought about him going into his time with the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees will be able to keep him based on what he's probably going to be asking for in this offseason. But just a moment on Trent Grisham. Hit 2 more home runs last night. What's he got, 32 on? Trent Grisham's got 32 home runs. This is Brady Anderson stupid.
33.
Sorry. My bad.
But anytime you're leading off of the Yankee Stadium, you're going to hit home runs.
But not that many. I mean, he's hitting he hit 2 of them last night in Minnesota. I mean, sorry. Go.
No, it's just sometimes you get that ballpark factor and you start feeling good. And to me, Trent Grisham is a Yankee. Don't go signing him, expecting him to go drop 33 home runs for you down in San Diego or wherever, because track record. It's just track record. It's a matter of sometimes you hit the right place at the right time. Do not expect Trent Grisham to be 33 and just dropping bombs left and right for you. If he's able to do that, incredible. But somebody's going to go out there and sign him expecting this. And you're going to see a regression back to the mean.
The Giants are going to put him at Oracle Park, and he's going to hit like 13 home runs next year.
He's 2 home runs and a bunch of gap shots for doubles.
I agree. Yankees win, by the way, last night. And the Yankees are, listen, I said this to Sam yesterday. The Yankees aren't not in first place in the AL East because they're playing poorly. They're not in first place in the AL East because the Blue Jays have just been that good.
That's really what it is. Well, again, there was also a point there where the Yankees were not playing good baseball and the Blue Jays started picking it up. So the Blue Jays, I always say this, the Blue Jays earned this spot, but the Yankees also gave it to them. The Yankees didn't do themselves any favors with how they played after the second month of the season all the way up until this last month. They definitely played poor. They didn't play horrible, but they looked really ugly, right? We talked about this a lot. They looked really ugly, and they opened the door for a good Toronto team to get hot, play great baseball, and then step up and probably going to win the AL East. But the Yankees, I'm still, again, you know me, from the moment the season started, I think this Yankees team is a lot better on the field when it matters than a lot of other people were saying.
Sam, go.
David, I think it's really interesting if you look at the wild card standings right now, just over the last 2 weeks, how much better the American League in general has been than the National League. In the American League, it really does feel like it's a race towards the playoffs, whereas in the National League, it's kind of just who wants it the least. That's the team that's going to get eliminated. I'm curious because, you've been on the Mets in late season situations, and this is a team that continues to struggle. They're 2-8 in their last 10 games. It's like the bad dream that just won't end. Their wild card lead has shrunk to a game and a half. What are you seeing out of this Queens baseball team? They lose again last night in San Diego. Is there anything they can do to try and salvage this season at this point?
Win, baby, just win. If they can figure out how to go out there and just get pissed off, they're playing like they're just expected to make the playoffs and they're going to be just fine at some point. Just start getting pissed. Get angry out there.
Get angry.
Hit some people on the mound. Go do some things that are a little unconventional and let people know that you actually care about baseball. This is a good team. They've got the guys. 1 through 26 are right there with the very, very best in baseball. It's just when you sat back and sat on Soto and just expected him to keep carrying you along with the way he was playing baseball, and then that's what you're seeing is you saw Soto step back a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, this team sucks again. Well, it was really Soto carrying it along and a decent bullpen, but the rotation's done nothing lately. The bullpen's done absolutely nothing, and the 1 through 9's done nothing. So where are you expecting this team to go? So to me, if I'm a manager, I'm telling the starting pitcher, I'm telling somebody, like, let's do something different and just like act like it matters. That's what I want to see out of this team. Act like it matters.
I'll still take Cody Bellinger myself. The way he's played this year over Soto. Sorry. Just putting that out there. Just throwing that into the universe and sort of
I would have liked
happens.
to heard that from you about 2 months ago.
Nah, you weren't going to hear that 2 months ago. I was still in mourning. Diamondbacks, Reds, Giants, by the way, all two back of the Mets in that wild card race for that final spot. I'd love to see San Francisco get in personally. I think it's always fun when the Giants are in the playoffs, especially when imagine the Giants, Padres, and Dodgers all in the playoffs. I mean, sign me up, California dreaming.
I mean, imagine too. I mean, Arizona right there too. All the West teams basically are all fighting for it. We know the Diamondbacks of those three teams are not as good of a team. We know they're not as good. They lost a couple of their best players. Mets, I still see this Mets team as somehow pulling it off.
We got to ask you something about the Dodgers situation because they made some news yesterday on the Shohei Ohtani front in terms of how they may use him in the postseason. So we're surely going to get to that coming up in a couple of minutes with David Aardsma. Failed starter hangs out with us on Sports Wrap. Don't go anywhere. We take it to segment 3 on this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. David Aardsma, former big league reliever, hangs out with us on the show. Man, the Yankees could use you, by the way. We need some help in the bullpen. My God.
I don't know if they want me. I don't know.
I think you could probably. I think you could still get some. I think you could still get some guys out. Just a hunch. I think you could still get some guys out. Certainly better than their bullpen. They were up 10-1 the other night and won 10-9.
That's bad. That's bad. It
Well,
is a circus in that bullpen right now, and they're too good. They're too good of pitchers to be able to pitching like that. Come on,
Sam. I know you have a question, but I want to ask something real quick. When it comes to a team like the Yankees, if your bullpen is that bad, do they perhaps go away from the model that we often see in the postseason, where the moment there's a little bit of trouble with a starting pitcher, the bullpen's up, and we're throwing somebody else in there and making it more of a bullpen game? Do you think if you're Aaron Boone, you have to change your mindset from that if you've got a Rodon on the mound and he's pitching well and he runs into you got to let these guys get through it because you can't count on what's in that bullpen?
There's two things going on here. The answer to that is yes. You have to adjust to your team and play the way your team style is, right? They're not going to all of a sudden be bunt 'em, like steal guys and then all of a sudden get a base hit for a couple runs. They're going to hit home runs and they're going to live and die on that. But they also are, it's Aaron Boone. He's going to do the thing that you're not expecting him to do, which is just keep throwing those relievers out there and run them out. So that's my issue with it. Is it's no matter how many times you say this is not stop doing this, he's going to keep doing it.
Go ahead, Sam.
DA for the first time, in like maybe a year and a half, maybe even longer than that. The Los Angeles Dodgers are not the favorites to win the World Series right now. The Philadelphia Phillies are currently the betting favorites to win the World Series. What say you? Are you all in on the Dodgers, or do the books know something? Is this the Phillies' year in your mind?
So I'm still a Dodger guy. I've said it from day one. They're the best team on paper. They were the best team I had seen put together ever. They didn't play like it. But I also said they weren't going to win the 110 games that everybody predicted, and they're just going to run through everything because also their competition is really good in the West, better than any other division in baseball, and they're going to be playing tougher games the whole time. And they've still, with a very good San Diego team, a good Arizona Diamondback team, a good Dodger or good Giants team, coming out on top and looking like the best team in the West. Let's put it that way. I understand why people want Philly or why people are picking Philly right now. I see it. Like they've actually gone out there and done the things that we expected the Dodgers to do. They've never been in a spot where you felt like they were a bad baseball team. They never got down. They never got in those slumps that we've seen every single team in baseball get into this year. They're the only team that didn't. right? So they just kept churning. They're big, but they also had the Mets, which is a great thing for them. The Mets did them just helped them out the whole way around by not playing good baseball either. So really, if you look at who they played, Philly, they played the Mets, who had some pretty bad streaks and almost 500 right now. The Marlins, Braves, and Nationals, who all suck. So who have they really played?
Careful.
Well, they have not played baseball the way that they should be playing baseball, right? Like even the Marlins, like the Nationals. I had the Nationals winning a lot more games than this. So seeing that young core getting better.
So did Sam.
I think the Braves should have 85 to 87 to 90 wins right now. And they just played bad baseball. I'm not saying they're bad teams. They're just playing bad baseball, right? And so that's my problem with this is who in their own division have they really dominated? And they should have 100 wins playing against these teams if they were that much of a favorite. So that's why we also look at the American League at some of those teams and go, they're finally grabbing it and taking hold of it.
Did you have a follow there, Sam? Because you looked like you did.
Okay. Well, kind of. Quick. But it's a little different. It's something you and I were talking about yesterday, Jason, and I want to get DA's perspective on it. You were talking about kind of who you have to play in your division. It led my brain to think of the balanced schedule, which is something that Jason and I were talking about yesterday. In the modern era of the balanced schedule, of interleague play being a commonality, of the universal designated hitter, yesterday the subject came up, David. We think that they would be a lot more simple if there was just one MVP.
Universal
instead
MVP.
Of an AL
Yes.
and an NL. What do you think about that?
Yes. Universal MVP.
It makes a lot more sense, but I don't like it. My heart, my purist doesn't like it. Give me an ML and AL. I also think there should be a bigger hitter award, like push that more, get that really out there. And so the MVP is truly the best, most valuable player. But there's also, we have the award, but it should be, Hank Aaron Award should be pushed more out there. But I like it. I think it allows, I understand it. I understand the argument, but my baseball purist just doesn't it hurts. Don't do that.
Doesn't hurt me at all.
Don't break my heart, Jason.
And if it was one award this year, it's going to the guy I want to talk about now, which is Shohei Ohtani. 5 no-hit innings. Oh, come on! Wait a second. Are you really?
He's incredible. I don't think it's.
Wait, who are you giving it to?
Cal. I think I would say I think Shohei still wins it, but it is a. I'm sorry, Ohtani is unicorn historic. Cal is historic right now in a position
that's no one's done these things.
I agree with you, David. But he's not even going to win the AL MVP. That's the problem.
He's going to win the AL MVP.
No,
I think this is absolutely absurd that people even
He should, but he's not going to. He should, but he's not going to, David.
He will win it. I am betting everything on it.
Unless he breaks Judge's
so much more momentum right now when it matters the most. Now,
unless he breaks Judge's record, he's not winning that award.
Oh, I don't.
What's the number,
I heard
Sam?
That on MLB Network. I don't agree with it, and he is having such a historic season on so many fronts. Most home runs by catcher of all time. Switcher home run. I get it. It's everything.
I know, and the team's going to win the division potentially too. Sam, real quick, what were you going to say?
Jason,
on the odds?
He knows something we don't. Overnight, the number that you and I were talking about being
was
a
900.
minus 900 favorite for Aaron Judge has dropped to minus 350. Cal Raleigh is down to plus 250 to win this award.
And Judge just had 3 hits last night, and the number went down?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for him.
That's not a bad sign for Judge backers.
Cal, Aaron is not losing this thing. Cal is winning.
Wow.
It's all right. You have to just face the news, Jason. That's okay.
No, I'm okay. Sam will tell you, I have argued many times for Raleigh to win the award. As a Yankee fan, I've still argued many times for him to win the award. I don't think they lose either way. I think you can make the argument for both guys. We got to go. Check out the YouTube channel for more content. David Aardsma, Man Cave Sports, former big league reliever. We're coming back. Sports Wrap rolls on this Thursday. Thanks to David Aardsma for hanging out with us. He's such a good sport. He really is. Coming up in 10 minutes, why I predict this will be the last year for the Tush Push. and some interesting comments coming out of the Kelce camp that will sort of aid my argument in that. Sam Yarnell, one of the more interesting matchups in this week is the Cardinals-Niners matchup. Both teams 2-0, off to good starts, and doing it in sort of different ways. Obviously, the Niners without Brock Purdy, although there is talk potentially that he could make it back for this game this week, Sam. I think that's smoke. I don't think there's any way he's starting this week. If he is indeed your franchise quarterback, Sam, if he is indeed your franchise quarterback, there is no way you are rushing him back onto the field in week 3 when you're 2-0. Even if it means you potentially lose this game. And I know it's a divisional matchup. I don't think you risk it unless you're so confident that even if he does get hurt, hey, we have Mac Jones here, if you want to play conspiracy theory guy. But there are a lot of people calling for this idea of Mac Jones becoming the starting quarterback in San Francisco, Santa Clara, with the Niners right now, Sam. It's a very interesting dynamic at play there.
Yeah. You said the 49ers rushing Brock Purdy back. Mm-hmm. And again, maybe this is, sports tinfoil hat me. Call me crazy. I think Brock Purdy might be rushing Brock Purdy back here. After seeing what Mac Jones did in this offense last week and knowing that Mac Jones is 1/8, 1/10 as expensive as Brock Purdy is, yeah, if I'm Brock Purdy, I'm sweating. I'm about to get Wally pipped by the guy that my coach openly said he wanted to draft during that year's draft class. I am nervous if I am Brock Purdy. Everything that I have built, if I am Brock Purdy, this illusion of me being an $80 million quarterback in this juggernaut offense was disproven in a week. This is a guy in Brock Purdy who I think is very much forcing himself back too early, only to keep Mac Jones from taking his job. And quite frankly, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's wrong for doing it. It's something that we see year in and year out in the NFL. Doesn't happen very frequently to quarterbacks. No. Most of the time, it's left guards or tight ends who go through these types of positional battles or battle back from an injury a week or two too early. But right now, we're doing it with the most important position on the field. And quite frankly, this is appointment viewing for me. I love this kind of thing.
Well, look, I think if Mac Jones goes out there and plays a really good game similar to the one he played in week 2, the Niners are it's gonna make Kyle Shanahan's job both very good and very bad at the same time. He'll have 2 potential options, that he'll have to go with there, and I don't know if it opens up a quarterback competition in San Francisco with the Niners, but it will certainly make for interesting conversation for what we do for a living. Move away, real quick.
Just real quick, their cap hits for next year because they're both signed to the Niners roster for next year. Brock Purdy's against the cap, $24 million, basically $25 million. Mac Jones against the cap, $4 million.
You can do a lot of things with all that money. You can add a lot of pieces, and the Niners love to be the sum of the total parts. So, that certainly helps in that regard. The Cardinals are also 2-0, Sam, and even though they didn't look great in the win against Carolina, they are, a team that's got a couple of wins here on the season. And, Kyler Murray's obviously a big piece of what they're doing there, and he was in the news for the wrong reasons this week. Kyler Murray deciding to put up some pictures on the gram, as the kids like to call it. And the pictures, they didn't go over very well. There they are. Now, if you look closely, you'll see a pit bull. Very cute pit bull, by the way, in the pictures. By the way, I hate people that dock the ears of pit bulls. It's really one of the cruelest things you could do to an animal. But that notwithstanding, what is being worn by one Kyler Murray in this picture? You're looking at it, you say, no, it's a jersey number 7. That is Michael Vick's Virginia Tech number 7 that he is wearing on his chest. And there are pictures where you could see it from the back as well, but we didn't provide those for the sake of this conversation. At the very least, it was tone deaf. I am actually one of the people, though, that when I initially saw this a couple of days ago, before it became an issue to the point where Kyler Murray had to apologize for it, I actually didn't have as big a problem with it as maybe some people did. And I say that as a dog lover, an advocate for adoption, all of that stuff. I didn't actually, there was a part of me that wondered if he actually knew what he was doing when he did it. And then the more I got to thinking about it, Sam, I said, he had to know what he was doing when he did it. And it becomes a question. And again, if there's any place in this on a team, in any sport, where you want maturity and you want signs of maturity out of a certain player at a certain position, the quarterback position is one of those. So at the very least, if you're the Cardinals and you see this, you have to be questioning to yourself, what is going on inside this kid's head from a maturity standpoint that he thought this was a good idea? Yeah.
Like, sure, maybe that's going through the minds of some of the people in the front office, but like, if it is, this just, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for the let's keep the athletes who have big platforms in line. Like, they have to stay to an extent and understand the gravity of everything they say and do. This feels like a hair of a reach. Just a hair to me.
Sam, it's the franchise. Keep in mind, this is the franchise that basically leaked it out to the media that they were putting a clause in the guy's contract that he couldn't play video games during the season because they thought he was distracted by that and not focusing enough on game film. So, would it really surprise me if the organization was pissed off to see this picture? No. There is more to get to. We'll get to it next. We'll wrap it up with some odds and ends 10 minutes from now. Everything we ran out of time to get to in the show. Boy, the Golden State Minnesota Game 2 last night was as good as it gets in the WNBA. Talk about that in odds and ends. You got 3 of the 4 opening round series in the WNBA, by the way, that are going to go to a deciding Game 3, which is pretty good for them as well. All right, Sam Yarnell, some more NFL. Will 2025 be the final year of the Tush Push, Sam Yarnell? I say it will. Because I look, it's week 2.5. I mean, we're at the start of week 3 tonight. And you've already got people that are having conversations about the Tush Push and frustration with it and whether, false starts are taking place now. I continue to keep hearing players say that it is a physically crushing play. Offensive linemen and things like that, talking about being a physically crushing play, even though the NFL will tell you, there's no issues as far as player safety is concerned. I predict, given the fact they fell short by 1 vote during the competition committee meetings, I think they missed by 1 vote on getting this thing passed and banning the Tush Push. This will be the last year of the Tush Push. Further evidence of the scrutiny it is coming from the New Heights podcast, Jason and Travis Kelce on their podcast, and I believe this was yesterday it was released. If I'm wrong, maybe it was the day before. But here is Jason Kelce talking with his brother about the Tush Push and the aspect of the false starts that people think need to start being called. Cue it up, Maestro.
I get that there's like a hair of a second early on some of these. Some of them are legitimate false starts. Some of them I feel like fall well within the parameters of any other short yardage play. And this is the other thing. The false start thing, that thing is going to happen whether it's a tush push or a regular quarterback sneak. Guards are going to be trying to tie him at the snap. Good guards on short yardage runs are going to be trying to tie him at the snap. Like that's how, if you're late, you're going to be screwed. So it's not like they're trying to false start.
Sam Yarnell, will this be the final year of the Tush Push?
Yeah, so it's a take that's really gained steam over the last 48, 72 hours, ever since the Sunday night game or Sunday afternoon game against Kansas City. And, we talked about it on the show yesterday. You had all these videos that people are putting out there, and then the NFL goes and DMCAs them. It's very weird. Very, very weird behavior. The reason I agree with you and I think that this time we actually will see the banning of the Tush Push is because how the narrative has changed. Up until this week, the entire narrative around why everybody had to ban the Tush Push was player safety and it's hurting guys, which whether or not it is, the NFL, I'm sorry if this really bursts your bubble out there, The NFL doesn't care. They really don't. The NFL considers players more replaceable than any major sports league out there, especially linemen and like non-skill position players. I don't want to say not important because I'd argue that they're more important, but that's neither here nor there. The reason that it is going to get banned this time is because the new narrative is that it's impossible to officiate. And what is one of my, flagpole arguments on this show, it is that umpire and referee associations, right? The NFLRA, the MLB, UA, they are the most powerful unions in sports. You can tell me everything you want about the NFLPA, which is still in shambles after Pablo Torre found out over a month and a half ago at this point. But the NFL UA or the NFLRA is the real body that's going to move this and the real reason that we're going to get the Tush Push banned. As soon as any referee said that it's becoming harder and harder to officiate, yeah, that's the end of that. We're not going to mess with that if we're sitting in our cushy Fifth Avenue offices talking about what we need to do to change the league. It's not that big of a deal. The Eagles don't look that great this year anyway. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there's some rule change made mid-season this year.
I'd be shocked if they did something mid-season. But that being said, there's another aspect to this that you just brought up. And I think it's another reason why this play has to be banned. Once the quarterback dives into that pile in the middle, you have no idea where the football is anymore. You have no idea where the football is, Sam. It's impossible to get an accurate spot on the football. And they try their best, to the officials' credit here, which we don't often give them credit. They try their best. But it's impossible. There's so many times where you watch this play and Jalen Hurts is lost in the middle. You have no idea where the football is by the time his knee, elbow, arm, whatever hits the ground. You have no idea. So to sit there and say it's player safety, it's the false starts that take place, as you heard Jason Kelce allude to, and then you have the issue of not really knowing where the football is in relation to the down marker, the first down line. You add it all up to me, and I just don't see how it's a tenable situation for the NFL to continue doing it. If they stopped it in the middle of the season, that would be remarkable, though.
Is
there a precedent? Is there even a precedent for that? For them changing a rule?
Micro rule changes? Yeah, we've seen it in the past.
This isn't micro, though. I mean, it's a huge part of what the Super Bowl champions do in their offense.
Did they not take challenging pass interference away in the middle of a season? I think they took that away in the middle, or like in week 3 or 4 of a season. I think they took challenging, that one season where you could challenge pass interference and it went horribly. I think they took that away, and maybe it was at the end. Regardless, I think that I lost my train of thought a little bit. I'm not going to. So I think that when we talk about this Eagles team and the grand scheme of it and compare it to last year, that is kind of where the devil is in the details with all of this. And you have to realize that the league is operating on behalf of the sport itself. That, to me, plays a large role as well into why there may be more change after this year as opposed to after last year.
All right, we've got odds and ends around the corner. WNBA Playoffs had a great finish last night. I don't know if anybody saw it because it happened so late, but it was a great finish. We'll tell you about it next. All right, just about time to say goodbye for this Thursday. Don't forget tomorrow's show. It's Friday, which means it's a NASCAR Friday, and Tino Patino will be here to preview this week's race in New Hampshire. The field of 16 is down to 12 for NASCAR's Cup Championship. We'll also be joined by Robert Littal, our friend from Black Sports Online. Will stop by the show as well. Before we get you all set up with odds and ends, a couple of reminders. If you have not done so yet, make sure to check out the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. The audio version of this show available Monday through Friday on all your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show. In addition to that, you could also watch the show on Spotify, and you could watch this show in addition to over 275, 280 affiliates around the U.S. The number changes every day. You could also watch this show over on our YouTube channel, the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel, which is available wherever you get YouTube. You can watch it on your TV, your computer, your phone, wherever. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel, Sports Wrap Shorts are there, where you can watch clips from the show, sometimes clips not from the show. We had an extended conversation today with David Aardsma. You saw most of it, but you didn't see all of it. You know where you'll get the rest of it? The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. And without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell. The WNBA playoffs continue to deliver. I know the game with the Liberty and Mercury last night wasn't the greatest game, with the Mercury getting a blowout win in New York. By the way, the Liberty shot their worst from the field the entire season, and they picked a playoff game to do it. The New York Liberty last night had one player in double figures in a playoff game. Go figure that out. They had one player, and it was Emma Messiman off the bench, who had 11 points. For those wondering, Breanna Stewart did play. She played 20 minutes, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists for her. But Phoenix forces a Game 3 back in Phoenix. Both of these teams, by the way, 27-17 on the year, including the playoffs after this game. So tells you how evenly matched this series is. Who wins Game 3, Sam Yarnell?
New York. Breanna Stewart will get right. I mean, this is just, you see this in basketball, right? It's just an off night. They didn't have a good night. I don't know. Maybe they got ahead of their skis or something. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be a 16-point affair. But yeah, no. I think on Friday night, give me the Dogs. Give me the Liberty.
You know what's crazy, by the way? Looking at the WNBA odds to win the championship, Atlanta right now has the third best odds. The Liberty are fourth.
Right.
Minnesota is first at minus 155. The Aces at plus 310. Then it's the Dream at plus 1100. The Dream, who've never won anything in the WNBA. And then the Liberty at 13-1. Atlanta's got to worry about a Game 3 against the Indiana Fever. So we'll see what happens there. Game of the night, though. Maybe the game of the night in sports last night. Was this Golden State Valkyries matchup with the Minnesota Lynx. And give credit to Minnesota. They came back down 17 in the fourth. I don't know if they were down 17 in the fourth. They were definitely down 17 in the third quarter. They come back from down 17 to beat Golden State. Can I pick on one thing, though? And this is a disgrace, okay? And that's not too strong of a word. You have the Golden State Valkyries, an expansion team. Played in front of sold-out crowds all year at Chase Center in San Francisco. And you have a scheduling conflict where you have the Laver Cup being played at the Chase Center on a night where there should have been a playoff basketball game, and instead you play this game in San Jose at the SAP Center? Are you kidding me? I mean, come on, this is the playoffs. You could damn well be sure that would never happen to the Golden State Warriors. But the Golden State Valkyries are playing in San Jose last night. Granted, sellout crowd, but it's not the same as playing at home at the Chase Center, Sam.
You're right, but let's remember this is the Golden State Valkyries' first year of existence. That's not to say that they're a less important team or anything like that. It's just simply from a planning perspective. Who's not to say that the Chase Center wasn't rented out for this event, 6 months before we even knew the Valkyries were going to be a team, let alone have a shot at the WNBA playoffs. I get that it shouldn't have worked out this way, but, with an expansion team playing a home playoff game, I guess I have a little more understanding towards it.
You telling me the Laver Cup? I mean, what's going on in tennis at this time of the year? You're telling me the Laver Cup couldn't go one day later? I mean, come on! Oh, I know, Novak Djokovic and whoever the hell else is there. They couldn't make their plans for one day later. I mean, really? Come on.
It's not about that. It's, this as a business owner yourself. It's about the sponsorships that you sell. And you sold sponsorships for specific days, and that started on a Wednesday. And if you have to change that, the sponsors who have already spent all this money, they're just going to get upset.
Real quick, Lionel Messi, who we mentioned yesterday on the show, gets mentions in back-to-back shows somehow after we don't mention him the whole year for Inter Miami. It looks like he's going to sign a contract to remain with Inter Miami for 2 or 3 more years. And Sam, it makes sense. Where do people go to retire and spend their golden years? South Florida. So there you go. Lionel Messi, congratulations. You get to spend the rest of your life where everybody else does in their golden years.
You know what Lionel Messi and Kawhi Leonard have in common?
What?
They both get paid millions of dollars for a no-show job in the southern United States.
Mic drop. Just take that. No, you don't want to break it. Never mind.
No.
Thanks to David Aardsma for hanging out with us. You're proud of yourself, aren't you?
Good note to end on.
It is. We got to go. We'll see you back here on Friday for an all-new Sports Wrap. Bye!